Hey guys, in this video, I'm gonna give you a blueprint to speed up any interior detail that you're about to do. All right guys, without wasting any time, let's jump right into the content of this video. The Honda Pilot interior that you see on screen right now is an interior detail I did not too long ago. And the first question most beginner detailers ask is, how do I speed up my details because I'm spending too much time on interiors like this? I wanna share with you how to take this from being like a 5-hour detail to like a 2.5-hour detail. And we're gonna do this in 3 major steps. First, we're gonna break up the interior into major categories. Secondly, we're gonna divide each one of those major categories into important or unimportant. I'll explain what that means in just a second. And thirdly, we're gonna actually force ourselves to implement things that we might be afraid to do. But guys, before we jump into that area, listen, if you missed the live free training I hosted on Thursday, September 15th, I've got a replay available for you. The link to watch the replay is available in the YouTube description box below. The replay is going to be taken down in literally a matter of days, and then it gets deleted forever. It's not going to be available at all. So if you missed that live free training where I share with you exactly how to make $5 grand a month in recurring revenue from maintenance clients in your detailing business. If you're starting a detailing business, if you're trying to grow your detailing business, I promise you, you cannot afford to miss this live free business training. Once again, the recording is only going to be available for a few days at this point, and then we're taking it down. Link in the YouTube description box below. Go watch it before you do anything else. Now let's get back into the video. So let's start with the first major category of this interior. This is what I call the hard vinyls, rubbers, leathers, and plastics. I'm going to be cleaning the hard plastic surfaces, essentially, the door panels, the dashboard, the console, anything that can be cleaned simply with an all-purpose cleaner, detailing brush, steamer. That's what I'm going after here. So we've done step number 1, big check mark. We've created the category of the pieces of the interior that we're cleaning. That's number 1. Secondly, we need to divide a line down this category and create the important and the unimportant section. What does that mean? What that means is we're saying that each part that we clean in the hard rubbers, vinyls, leathers, plastics category, in light of the whole detail when it's finished, is either going to be a really important part or a really unimportant part, meaning it's going to be something that we see really obviously, or it's going to be something that just kind of blends in with the rest of the detail. For example, if you have a really clean interior, it's clean to the nines, it's absolutely perfect, but there's a little bit of, let's say, dirt or uncleaned area on the door panel of the driver's side door. Are you going to notice it? The answer is no. After 10 years of being in the detailing business, I promise you, there are certain things on the interior that you immediately notice, that you see instantaneously, and then there are certain areas of the interior that just fold into the entire detail when it's finished. And what happens to detailers that slows them down is when I'm cleaning the door panel, I'm hyper focused on that area and I see everything. But when I'm finished with the detail, that door panel doesn't even catch my attention at all, even if I didn't get it perfectly. Once again, it just fades in light of the whole. That's the idea that we're going after here. What are the unimportant things that we don't have to get perfect, that we can kind of do quickly? And what are the things that we have to do perfect and we have to spend a lot of time on? The door panels go in the unimportant section. The dashboard goes in the unimportant section. The steering wheel, the radio buttons go in the unimportant section. The console, the cup holders, that goes in the important section. Why? Once again, in 10 years of experience, is something that if it's not totally perfect, customers always notice. That's why we blast it with the steamer. We want to make that area perfect. It's also an area that tends to get really gunked up because, once again, you put food in there, you put drinks in there. It's obvious why that area requires more attention, but it goes in the important section because if it's left even a little dirty, it does not fade into the rest of the detail when the interior detail is finished. You will notice that that area did not get detailed perfectly. Now let's move to the next major section, and this one is my favorite because it eats up all of your time as a detailer and you don't even know it's happening. The second major category is, of course, fabrics, upholstery, and carpets. This is probably where you are getting absolutely screwed with your time frames because you're hyper-focusing trying to make it perfect when it's not going to be perfect, or you don't know how to make it perfect. Let's talk about this. There are 2 major ways that I separate what I'm doing when I'm cleaning carpets. I clean, number 1, what I call the covered areas, and number 2, what I call the uncovered areas. The covered areas are obviously those areas of the carpet that are covered by a carpeted floor mat or a weather mat. The uncovered are naturally the areas around the mat that cannot be covered. It is so important that you make this distinction. Why? Because so many detailers are tripping over their ego. They think, I have to detail every single area the same. I have to detail every area perfectly. Well, why would I detail the uncovered and the covered areas the same way? The covered areas are protected, clean, basically require no carpet shampoo anyways. The uncovered areas are what require all of my time. If you do nothing else but treat this as 2 different areas of the carpet and spend your time in the uncovered areas, and in case you haven't picked up on this, the uncovered areas are what go in the important side of this equation. The covered areas go in the unimportant side. It's automatically going to speed you up literally today. If you go today to your customer's car after you watch this video and you start detailing the carpets, I promise you this will speed you up. Now, the other unbelievably important thing to tack onto this is to understand that the uncovered areas of dark colored carpets. It's also true with lighter colored, tan, maybe even white carpets, but particularly gray, black, those darker brown carpets, the uncovered areas are going to almost be in some sense bleached a little bit by the sun because they are what are exposed to the outside world, whereas the covered areas are going to be darker. I cannot tell you how many beginner detailers I have trained who get hyper-focused thinking that they're trying to match the colors up because there's some staining issue. It's not a cleaning issue. It's not a detailing issue. It's a sun bleaching issue. And what I'm trying to do is clean the dirt out as much as is reasonable in those uncovered areas. And then I'm going to move on with my life. Now for those covered areas, let's say that I've got some uncovered carpet that's really dirty. I gotta scrub it, steam it, mop it up. Those covered areas though really don't look dirty at all. Well, what kind of decision can I make if I'm putting those covered areas in the unimportant section? I might not even have to shampoo them whatsoever. I know that freaks out detailers because they think, no, I have to shampoo or touch or detail every area of the car. But what if the area is not dirty? We might say that you're doing more damage than good because you're stressing those fibers of the carpets when you don't even need to. What if I moved on completely and didn't even touch that area, making sure that the uncovered areas were what were detailed and cleaned? Once again, uncovered important, covered unimportant. It cuts my time in half with carpets and I can move on with my life to the next big category. Now in this situation, the next big category are the leather seats. I divide leather seats into three main categories. The bottom part of the seat, of course the backrest part of the seat, and then the seams of the seat. In a maintenance client, you generally don't have to worry about the seams, but of course if the maintenance client is only serviced once every several months, the seams might become an issue because dirt does tend to pile up there. Number one, I scrub the face of the bottom of the seat as well as the side. I do the same thing secondly with the back of the seat. Then I take my steamer to blast out the seams. Yes, it can be dangerous to take a steamer to leather, but if you know what you're doing and be, of course, cautious, this can be a very effective way to clean the seams very quickly. Now, where do we put the dividing line between the important and the unimportant section of the leather? Anywhere on the leather seat where I see relatively good or severe damage, I take that entire area and I put it in the unimportant side. Why? Because if I'm trying to clean a relatively damaged leather seat, I am at most gonna get 20 to 30% of that dirt up before I actually start to damage it further. It's a point of no return issue. So what I wanna do is decide in the moment, do I even wanna touch that area? And if yes, I'm gonna touch it for maybe 20 seconds, clean it as much as I can, stow it away. I'm not looking for perfection. I wanna perfect the parts of the seat that can be perfected, that are not damaged. If you do this one thing with leather seats, it will automatically speed you up. What we're doing with the carpets or the leather seats in these scenarios is we're wasting time trying to make them perfect because we're not categorizing them in the right way. We're not drawing a line down the middle and saying, what do I need to focus on? What do I not need to focus on? This is the easiest way to speed up your leather seat cleaning literally today. Now guys, the last major area that I categorize is of course the interior windows, but because interior windows are so finicky and I basically do the same exact process every single time on them, I'm not even gonna talk about them because they're basically one way to do them and they're just really important to get right every time because windows streaking is always something that everybody notices right away. So guys, just as a recap, I created three major categories in this video. Number one, the hard vinyls, rubbers, leathers, plastics on the interior. Number two, the carpeting, fabric, upholstery. And number three, the leather seats. What that does all of a sudden is systematize my entire process. And like I said, I can divide a line down the middle and create the important and unimportant sections saying, where do I focus? Where do I not focus? The biggest struggle that you have as a detailer is when you're in the moment after you watch this video and you're trying to clean that dirty leather piece that's damaged, or you're trying to clean that place of the carpet that's already covered and really doesn't need a lot of cleaning, you're gonna have to force yourself to move on past this particular thing and get on to the rest of the detail. Because remember, in light of the whole interior being done, you hyper-focused on that area of the carpet that nobody noticed. You hyper-focused on that area of the leather seat that was damaged that nobody thought of. You hyper-focused on that little tiny crevice of the steering wheel that nobody notices. And once again, in light of the whole detail, it just folds into the whole thing. It blends into the whole thing. It doesn't stand out. Nobody notices it. It's as if everything is totally clean to 100% to perfection. At the end of the day, you're running a business and you have to figure out where the dividing line is. Hopefully this video helps. Guys, before you bounce off this video, remember, if you have not watched the replay of the live business training that I did teaching you to make $5 grand a month with maintenance clients and recurring revenue, people who pay you every single month and put money in your bank as a detailer, make sure to go below and click the replay to watch it before the replay gets taken down. And if you're interested in any of the products and tools that I use to accomplish an interior detail like this, all of that will be linked up in the YouTube description box below as well. Thank you so much for watching. Guys, as always, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, keep working hard, and I'll see you in the next video.